Hello and welcome to the Digital Juice Bar, the only podcast that unironically enjoys listening to Dragonstad Dente by Ozone. I'm Hoodley.
And I'm KnightmareAlpha, and I always listen to that song unironically.
I'm surprised you know its exact name, because I don't think I've ever met anyone who actually knows the song.
Well, I'm a weird person.
For those who don't know, it's the Numa Numa song.
Yes, it is.
Numa Numa ye. Numa Numa ye. Numa 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 ye.
The funny thing about that is that their follow-up song sampled the Knight Rider theme.
Wasn't that like a TV show from like the 70s or something with a car?
Yes, that's Knight Rider.
Remember have you ever played Saints Row the Third?
Yeah, I've played it.
Remember that one guy who was starred in a parody of that?
Yeah.
I think it was called like Nightblade or something like that, and he had a motorcycle.
Yeah. Kind of weird.
That guy was a douche.
Yeah, but that's normal. It's a parody of David Hasselhoff, and David Hasselhoff has kind of been a bit of a douche. Even though
David Hasselhoff was in Nightblade?
No, or Knight Rider.
Knight Rider?
Yes, he was the main star of Knight Rider. Him and his leather jacket.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know.
It's actually rather watchable even to this day. And the young David Hasselhoff is a very attractive man, so that might be something for people who like that.
All right.
I've watched a lot of it.
I feel like if you're watching it specifically for David Hasselhoff, wasn't he in Baywatch?
He was in Baywatch, but I don't know. That was already in the 90s. That was pretty much away. The real reason, of course, why people would watch it is because the car was cool. And because the car could do anything. Kit was amazing.
Let me look it up. Knight Rider.
Yeah.
That is a neat car.
It is a neat car. Interestingly enough, they tried to basically reboot kind of a series at least twice over, once in the 90s with a show called Team Knight Rider that didn't make it to a full season, but was at least decently interesting. And then they tried to reboot it in, I think it was 2008. And this did run for 2 seasons and was actually pretty good, but then they had to cancel it because General Motors wanted to deal with the financial crisis and didn't want to finance the show anymore. So that fell through.
All right. But anyway, I think I finally figured out a format for these.
That's good.
Yeah, so I was thinking we'd probably talk about what we've been up to lately, after the intro, and we just kind of talk about whatever for a couple minutes. Then we talk about what we've been up to, then we do the questions, and then we do the topics.
Okay.
Sound good for you?
That's fair.
All right, let's try it out. Yeah, you go first. What have you been up to?
I was mostly up to work. I had to enter a new thing for my financial support. They want that I visit an installation, and that has occupied me quite a lot in the last 2 weeks. It's not great, but it's also not bad, so I take what I can get out of it. Other than that, mostly YouTube, a bit of gaming here and there, nothing too much.
Oh, what have you been playing?
2 Point Hospital for the most part, because I like hospital simulations for some reason, even though I don't like visiting hospitals. But managing them
pretty ironic.
Yeah, but this is a game that has also a lot of comedy with funny sickness. So
yeah, I've heard it's good. It's kind of like a spiritual successor to Theme Hospital.
Yeah, it is. And that is kind of amazing because Theme Hospital is one of these things that we fans of that original game kind of never got a real good sequel. And we worked out of a modified version that fixed a lot of the problems for a long time. And now we have a real game with new elements. And that's kind of nice. So, yeah.
That's always good. It's always good to see older games get modern follow-ups. We might be talking about that sometime later in this episode.
Great.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So, what you have been up to?
The main thing that I kind of got into is that I finally got some dot hack enemy cards, and no
Okay.
one knows what that is.
I'm not really 100% sure what it is, but considering it's dot hack, it was related to Namco Bandai, and that it is Namco Bandai's idea to merchandise basically everything. I can assume it's a collectible thing with anime trivia, I assume.
All right, so dot hack enemy is a card game, a tradable card game that Bandai, I think Bandai, yeah, it's Bandai, allowed. I can't remember the company that made the game, but it's a card game that had like 5 booster sets ranging from 2003 or something like that to 2006, and it was just based on like the anime dot hack sign and the game themselves, like the original 4 games.
Yep.
Oh geez, infection, mutation, outbreak, and quarantine. And it's pretty much just like they took monsters and items and characters from the games and the anime, and then they put them on cards and they made a card game out of it. And it's actually a pretty cool little system. And I found them online. I thought, you know what? I kind of like this. I like card games. I like Yu-Gi-Oh. I like old random things probably no one else cares about. So I'm going to get the cards. And I found this lot of like 200 cards on eBay, and I got them for like $15. And no one will play with me because no one cares about dot hack enemy except me.
Well, I wouldn't go so far, but sure.
Well, I'm sure someone might be willing to play with me if I had friends.
That went dark. Maybe I should tell you that I also kind of liked certain card games that
It's a
nobody
joke,
cares about
Nightmare.
anymore. Sure, still, but we here in Germany had for a surprisingly long amount of time the One Piece trading card game. The thing that I found out did never actually went into any other country outside of Europe, and that's the reason why none of my friends ever heard about that. And that's weird. The game was kind of busted because of its mechanics that led to very weird deck building because it was top heavy. The goal of a game was it to you build a deck and you pick a captain and you put the captain on the field, and your job is it to either defeat the other captain or 3 other characters, and then you win the game. That's basically how it goes. The problem with it, though, is that when you attack an enemy, you can play an unlimited amount of action cards, and the other side can play also an unlimited amount of action cards, and you always refresh at the end of a turn and the beginning of a turn with 5 cards from your deck. So what people were doing were just picking the highest possible attack range on any character and stuffing their decks full with action cards specifically for that character. So you basically place just your captain on the field, and then you draw all of your action cards, and then you attack and hope that you have better action cards than the other side and the better card on the field. So the problem with that was also that over time, the power creep went up. Like, they released dual characters that basically counted as 2 characters if you defeat them, but there was no limit that you could put them at, but they had more attack range and more defense, so they could take more hits. So the result was that, yeah, you just basically upgrade to this, and it was just bad. It's like nobody really thought about the rules in a competitive scene, and so that happened.
Yeah, it does sound like a pretty bad setup. That
The worst,
enemy is like completely different.
Yeah. The problem is nobody really thought about how this worked. There are many other cards in this game that nobody really used, like because no reason. Why would you invest deck size into objects, equipments, or fields if they don't really do anything other than not help you out on the spot? Because there were no limits put on some of these things, you could have a lot of them. So, It's kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays. Like nobody runs battle traps anymore. Traps are kind of like nearly non-existent at this point in the competitive scene.
Yeah, I get that.
It's weird.
So anyway, dot hack enemy.
Interesting.
If I can, in dot hack enemy, the goal is actually to. You have like a couple different kinds of cards. You have player characters, which are like your defense. You have items that you can give them, which can boost their abilities and their strength and stuff like that. And usually have some neat effects. You have monsters, which are like your main force of attack. And you have fields, which are kind of like field spells from Yu-Gi-Oh! They just kind of stay there and give some effects. And there are also grunties, which in the game are like talking horse pig things that you can raise, and they will give you items. I don't have any of those. They were only included in like one set called Epidemic. And I can't find any booster sets for Epidemic, like at all. Like they just don't exist anymore, apparently. So I can find the other four, but I can't find ones for Epidemic.
Was that the last one they published?
No, it was the third. The sets were the original set was called Contagion, and then the next one was Distortion, then Epidemic, Isolation, and Breakout. Breakout was the only one that didn't have starter decks.
Okay.
It was just like the last one they published, and only Epidemic had grunties, which is kind of a weird thing because they could do some neat things, but
I assume it was a limited print run, and they didn't really reprint it because no reason.
I'm not sure what the reason is. But oh yeah, there are also action cards, but there's a difference between that and what you said about the One Piece decks. So the whole goal in the dot hack card game is that you have to have your monsters battle your opponent's PCs, and their collective strength is compared to the PC's selected strength. And what's interesting is that when you declare an attack, your opponent actually gets to assign what monsters go to what characters. And then if there are more you can only have 3 PCs at a time. So if you have more monsters attacking than they have PCs, you can assign more monsters to a single fight. So that's pretty cool. And then you compare their strength to the PC's strength, and then you draw Destiny, which is like adding another number on other cards from the top of your deck. It's just how it works. And then if you win, you get to score a point. And the whole point is to score 7 points, and whoever scores 7 points first wins. And that's kind of it.
Okay.
And you can only play 1 card per turn. So unlike in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, you can't just spend 20 minutes laying out this ridiculously mousetrap-esque setup with just like, I activate this, and then I activate this monster's effect, which allows me to summon this monster, but then I sacrifice this monster to activate this monster's effect, and I do this monster's effect. You can't do that. It's like, I play this PC, and that's all I can do, your turn, and then you just... The whole point of it is to build up defense to protect against your opponent's building up offense. And then you also have to build up your own offense of monsters. Because the thing is, when you play a monster, you can only play it for that turn unless they are storable, which basically means you put them in a little area called the portal, and they can only attack when a certain other kind of monster attacks. And I think that's a really cool and fair mechanic. It gives people a chance to, it opens a lot of neat ideas for strategies. Like you could maybe spend some time building up an offense, because you can only play 1 card a turn. So you can either play certain cards to the portal and build up an offense while your opponent is building up their defense, and just, I don't know, it's a neat system. And They're all and what I really love about the cards is that pretty much the majority of them, their card art is just the models from the games. Like a lot of the games are from the PS2.
Yeah, I know
So
that.
they just took the 3D models from the games and used that for the official card art in most cases. Some of them have like stills from the anime. A very few of them have official artwork, like which is actually really cool looking. I like the style of their concept art, but the rest are just like blocky looking monsters, and it's kind of hilarious. It's
Okay.
kind of awesome.
Now I understand why this game maybe didn't take off.
I I don't know why they stopped. I don't know why.
Hey, it's okay. There's
I
nothing
mean,
wrong with that game.
yeah, it's a cool game. You got because like I'm playing through the Dot Hat games right now. They're a lot of fun. Um, and it's really neat to just play a card game where like, oh, I've seen this thing in the games, and it's just. But they have like different effects, and every monster has like they have an effect and a 2 play cost and a reward in most cases. What that means is that they will the 2 play cost is like you have to have a certain amount of elements on the field. It doesn't even have to be yours most of the time. Like spot 3 earth elements. So it's just like I have 1, the opponent has 2, I can play this card. I'm kind of just rambling about the mechanics of the game because I honestly just think it's a really neat system.
You know, weird idea. Maybe make a how to play this game video.
I mean, the problem with that is that right now I don't have a lot of options to work with. The 200 card set I got is mostly like 3 to 4 copies of the same card. So I don't have a lot to work with. And the thing about this game is that a lot of the time, no, in fact, pretty much every single different kind of monster, you have to base a deck around that because it's your main attack force. And,
Okay.
you know, most different kinds of monsters have a specific kind of element that they have. And the storable monsters can usually only attack if something of their type is also attacking, which is the only time where they can come out of the portal. And right now, the only 2 somewhat viable kind of monsters I can go for are Earth Elementals, and most of their effects are completely useless because they starve grunties, and I don't have any grunties. I have no way of getting them, so they're kind of useless for that. And Mimics. And that's basically all I can do. I have a couple plants. I have like 2 different kinds of demons, and that's it. So like I don't have a lot to work with right now. The only 2 decks I can make or the only ones that I've been able to make so far are a Mimic Wave Master deck, where I also had to throw in the 3 Swordmanoids I had and some fish, and an Earth Elemental Heavy Axeman deck, which is just completely unstoppable because Heavy Axemen are like tanks. So that's like impossible to break through.
Okay. Well, maybe later when you have more cards. More.
Yeah, I want to get more cards because like booster boxes cost like $20, which really isn't that bad considering I'd get like 330 cards.
That's okay. Yep, I think so.
And what's really cool is that they actually have the boss monsters from the game as cards, and they're classified as phases because they're part of the phases of the. I think it was called like the Cursed Wave or something like that, and they're really
Okay.
cool.
Hmm.
They look like some of them look like ancient monsters or like just I don't know. They look like cursed ancient relics or something like that. They look super cool. I don't have any of them because they're all like super rare, but I really want to get more of them because I also want to get more lightning cards because I like the mimics, but they're all lightning element, and it's kind of hard to work with that because I only have like 1 lightning elemental equip card, and it's kind of hard to play them. Because the thing is, with mimics, I need to spot like a certain number of lightning elements on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, the only way I can do that is by playing Swordmanoids and weaker mimics to my portal, because you can spot those. Which is kind of really awkward to do, because like Earth Elementals, I have a crap ton of Earth equips, so it's a lot easier to play them. I just don't have a lot of stuff to work with right now, so that's kind of annoying. I really would like to get more soon, so that I just have more stuff to work with, because I do like the game.
Well, yeah.
Oh, and also, I forgot to mention, in Dot Hack, the action cards in that one, the only way you can play them most of the time is by playing them face down as a hidden card, like a trap card in Yu-Gi-Oh! And then you can only activate them most of the time during your opponent's turn. So that kind of changes stuff up. Certainly different than One Piece.
Yeah, definitely. So if you, dear viewer, listener, want to support this effort, we
Don't spend
would
money on me.
Oh, come on. You want to
No.
have the cards, and the people want to have the game. Come
If
on.
I
They want to
want the
see you play the
cards,
game.
I'll just spend my own money. It's like, I'm hoping to maybe draw well enough to, like, I don't know, take commissions sometime. Maybe I really got to work on drawing. Probably do that sometime later today.
I mean, if somebody wants to send me a Liliana of the Veil Magic the Gathering card in mint condition, please do that. I would appreciate that.
I feel like that's really expensive.
That's a real expensive card, like one of the most expensive cards in the game as of now.
I've just been getting into a defunct card game that went out of print 13 years ago.
That's right.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Also, I just love the card art. Like, I don't know why. I just find it really charming because it looks kind of crap.
Well, sometimes that's a reward all in itself.
Yeah, it's neat to collect because I've grown to really like the Dot Hack games. But that's what we've been up to. Let's get on to the questions.
Because we need to catch all the questions.
Yeah, all the questions. I've talked enough about a card game no one cares about.
Yes.
All right. So this first question, let's talk about the ones from the actual YouTube video thingy. And incidentally, if you would like to ask us questions, please comment below. Tag us on Twitter.
Send us your love.
But not in that way.
You know in what way we want your love. Preferably in small change with non-continual builds.
Is this what they call e-begging?
No. E-begging is when all we're doing is call for money and do nothing in return.
All right. So anyway, back to the questions. Ace Hardy, who I don't know why, but that name sounds familiar, asks top 5 animes, and then put 4 periods, and then lists his own. Number 1 is Dragon Ball Z, then Samurai Champloo, Naruto, Bleach, and Boondocks. Rest in peace, Granddad.
Well, it happens to all of us, sooner or later.
I don't really count Boondocks as anime. I consider it an homage to anime, but like I consider it like the same kind of thing as like Avatar.
People do that usually to antagonize somebody, like putting it in there, like Avatar is my favorite anime, and everybody is aggressively against it. And I would say, yeah, sure, buddy, I don't have a problem with that. That's
I freaking love Avatar, man.
Yeah,
that was like one of my favorite shows as a kid.
I mean, I thought about it today, so Anyway,
all right.
so
my top 5 in no particular order. These aren't set in stone. They're just like what I think of when I think, you know what, I want to watch anime. So these are like the 5 that I can think of: Mushishi, Holic, Ouran High School Host Club, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, One Piece.
Okay, that's a solid selection, I would say.
Yeah, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things very much does not belong.
I don't think so. It belongs. Everything belongs.
All right. Well, what are yours?
I mean, that's a little bit of a complicated thing. Mostly because I'm pretty sure for some of them I will get flagged from you because, but sure. Let's see. So, on my top 5, in no particular order, is probably, well, anything that is Ghost in the Shell related because it's Ghost in the
All
Shell
right.
and it's fucking amazing.
It's pretty
Damn
good.
it, I said it.
Hey, it's okay. I found the squeaky duck sound effect.
Yeah, that's good, but I know how bad these videos run on my channel, and the less we need to censor them, the more they appeal on your channel, and I don't have to put them up. It's like weird. Anyway,
All right.
so second, what's the second? Fist of an All-Star, a classic, larger-than-life story about people punching each other and exploding.
Omae wa mo shinderu.
To be honest, the show can be genuinely horrific. I mean,
it's about a guy whose main ability is that he can make people implode by touching them. And then he's
that's
just like,
true. That's true.
Zankaigen.
Yeah, but you can get used to that.
Nani?
But you can get used to that. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get used to Jaggy. That poor guy.
Oh yeah, Jaggy. Did you play the new game?
I'm still in the process of doing it. I just sometimes.
Did you know you can pick up people's screams and use them to bludgeon people to death?
No, that's new to me, but I'm going to try it out.
It's awesome. You make someone explode and then they scream. Their scream becomes a physical object and you can pick them up and kill people with it. Kenshiro is so good at killing things. He can kill things with the screams of things he's killed. Man, that's so stupid.
It is, but that's what I expect from this franchise at this point.
Thank you, Sega.
Yeah, thank you.
And your very consistent Yakuza team.
I mean, they do their job. It's enjoyable. It's fun. It's just a lot of stuff. So, number 3, in no particular order. What do we put on number 3? Let's go with Cowboy Bebop. That's
pretty good.
That's a pretty good choice.
Bang.
So, what do we have at number 4? I'm kind of confused. Let's go with Neon Genesis Evangelion, so I get it, and you can tell me that how much of a pretentious little bitch I am.
I said you're a pretentious neckbeard, not that.
But I shaved myself this week.
I still draw you with a beard.
That's okay. I still have a beard. I just cut it down, but okay. I mean, I wouldn't call myself pretentious. I understand that some people have problems with it, and I'm not going to lie about it.
It was just a joke, and if you don't get that joke, go watch my Ninja Scroll video. It sucks like all the other videos I make, but hey, it's there. It's new.
That's some self-criticism.
Anime boobs.
Anyway, what's number 5? Number 5 is a little bit tricky.
Did you list 4?
I have 4.
You said Ghost in the Shell, Fist of the North Star,
yes,
Evangelion,
yes,
Cowboy Bebop, right?
Cowboy Bebop.
So 5th one.
5th one. What's the 5th one? I want to have something real big anime. What's real big anime? Ooh, I have one. I have one that nobody would ever pick. I pick Vicky the Viking.
I don't even know what that is.
That, my friend, is one of the inspirations to One Piece. And it's a show that has been running in Germany consistently since the 70s.
Is that even an anime?
It is an anime. It has been produced by TV Tokyo, and it was presented. No, not TV Tokyo. Toei Animation, and it was originally an anime. Yes. It's just
that's weird.
It's just that it is so hard connected to to German television culture at this point that it's more our thing than the Japanese thing. But it's actually a charming little show about a smart little Viking solving problems, not with violence, but with cleverness and smarts.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
All right, so on to the next question. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Dudge. Hello again, Dudge. It says, thanks for answering my questions. You both had good takes. Here's my question for the next one. Do you think filler can actually be good for an anime so long as it's not excessive?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, anything can be good as long as it's good.
I mean, people complained less about the filler in Bleach than they complained about the filler in Naruto.
Because in Naruto, like, a lot of the filler was just so weirdly placed. Like, a lot of the time, they just put the filler, like, right in the middle of an arc when things are happening. And it's just like, why? Why? If you were gonna make filler, do it before the start of the arc.
The worst
Like,
part about this is
in
also
Bleach, I remember that the filler arcs were always like between the actual official ones, so it didn't interrupt anything. And in One Piece, it doesn't really make a difference because they just go to a new island, and if they need filler, they can just make a new island with a new threat.
right.
And they're just like, okay, they can do that thing for a while Oda Sensei makes more of the manga. They really should put that series. They really should put the anime on break for a little while.
Yeah, that would be nice at this point because they completely removed filler from One Piece, so they don't actually can get themselves some leverage.
Yes, they really should just put it on break for a little while.
Yeah, but
make more chapters to work with. But
the
like
problem with okay,
you were saying?
I wanted to say the problem with Naruto's filler was also that it was inconsistent and did break the rules of the series on many occasions. Like, did not actually work. It didn't follow the established power scales, for example. Like, it was.
They have power scales in Naruto.
Yes, of course they have power scales. You know, certain characters need to be placed in power scales. The Hokages, for example, are more powerful than the regular ninjas. You know, that's just basic knowledge. So the problem that I saw with one of his arcs was that a bunch of nobodies knocked out Tsunade, and I was like, "Gotta be kidding me! You want to tell me that a no-name ninja can just knock out one of the most powerful ninjas in the world, like established to be able to punch mountains?" And that's what you're doing? Like, come on, people.
I mean, I don't really like Naruto in general, so
That's okay. It's just, hey, I had my problems with the series already. But the point is that a filler should, as much as the rest of a narrative, not break the rules of a narrative. And if you establish this character is stronger than this character, then you shouldn't break that just for a joke or just because you feel like the character would be in the way, you know? So, yeah.
All right. Well,
There's one thing that I also want to notice. Nobody really mentions this because nobody really notices, but Detective Conan is like nearly 70% filler.
That makes sense.
It makes sense, mostly because it's actually kind of an exercise of training for directors at this point. You know, like they just say, okay, you have to write like a 2 or 3 parter for Detective Conan, and that's what you have. And they can just set up a mystery, they can set up a case, and then train how they do that. That's a nice little thing that they at this point do, and you know, gives immense time for working with. So
I feel like that's a good way to go about it. You know, you want to give people a little bit of exercise. You're between arcs. You want to give the artist a little more time. So like, hey, write a story for this. That's not too bad an idea, so long as they understand the material they're working with.
And for this series, it's relatively simple to understand the material.
Yeah. So I think it really does work with shows like One Piece or Detective Conan, because really those are a lot of those series is mostly just like a bunch of different things just happen in order. They don't really have a whole lot of connection. Like in One Piece, you go to an island, they have some kind of arc there, and then it might carry over to the next island, might not, doesn't really matter. But if they need to throw in some filler, just add a different island, have it be completely unrelated, doesn't even matter. Just have a little bit of fun there for a little while, and then go to the next actual island. And I'm sure they just can't stop thinking of new ways to murder people in Detective Conan. So I feel like it works really well for some series, but just it really depends on if the writers know the material and don't place it where it just gets really annoying.
I think it's more easier for episodic series than long-running continual narrative stuff. There, it's really important to have the arcs down to a T.
Yeah. Like in One Piece, like you'd be surprised how well written a lot of those characters can.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's we're trying to get through the questions a bit quicker today, so
Don't worry,
we
I
don't
think our next
ramble on
questions
for
are easier.
super long. But yeah, that's what we think. Filler can work, so long as you don't do it like Naruto. And that's it. The next question is from Shadow Elite. Yay! The JRPG Gowd. Spelled Gawd.
I'm pretty sure he means Gouda.
Gowd. Shadow Elite HD, aka the JRPG Gowd. Whatever. Cool guy. I'd tell you to go check him out, but odds are you probably already know about him. He's much, much bigger than us. So
He's a big cheese.
Yeah, big cheese. Like Gouda. The JRPG Gouda.
That's a new one.
His question is, how do you guys think about game subscription services like Xbox Game Pass?
Well, what do you think about it?
I mean, it really depends on what they're offering, because like Nintendo, nah, not really. I mean, they got some SNES games on there, but it's just like, okay. I've personally never liked the idea of having to pay for online services, but for like game subscription services, I don't think that's really a bad idea. It's like kind of like Netflix but games.
Yeah.
And if I could, if I was actually inclined, because like as a personal collector who just likes gathering stuff and playing them all the way through on my own time, if I was more inclined to gaming subscription services, paying like $10 for a whole library of games, that's not such a bad idea. I don't really have any experience with Xbox because I don't have an Xbox. I've never had an Xbox, but like from what I've heard, it's not that bad a service. Like you get a bunch of Xbox 360 games. I think you get a bunch of original Xbox games. I'm not entirely sure.
There's a good list about this. So I have to say this, especially for the Xbox Game Pass, it's a surprisingly big list what they have on there. So it's definitely a big package deal, but I'm not sure if that appeals to everybody because, Xbox is Xbox and the Xbox will always appeal to a certain demographic of people. So, I make
Rat
it.
boys.
I wouldn't. Well, yeah, you're kind of right. But the point is, I think depending on the service, it can be good. The problem that I see is that it's still not that effective, so to speak. Like, PlayStation has done with
View.
No, more with a PS Plus where they offer you like free games a month. Like that's actually more like it actually. But the problem is really the selection, what you're getting out of it, and the fact that it's so segmented because nowadays everybody wants to jump in. Like EA has their own version of it, ironically, because they don't have released much games this year, so it's not really valuable actually.
You really have to wonder what the benefit is in paying for a subscription service to games that are meant to be games as a service, or live services. That just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes you more money. That's the point of it. But for a consumer, it's of course not a great deal. It's also weird because that specific Game Pass service that EA has also offers you like a lot of games for lower prices, like or for no price. For example, you can buy and you can get Anthem for free if you want to have their service. I actually checked this, and it's like no, you're not getting this from me. I'm not paying like $40 for a month for something like that.
You could pay me to play Anthem, and I'd still be like, no.
It's
you
like,
can keep your freaking money. I'm not playing that.
Yeah, like even gifted, it's way too high of a price to actually deal with it. So no, it's kind of bad.
I feel sad for BioWare.
Yeah, I feel sad too because I think the designs of the game are really good. It's just that the game is not good.
The suits are cool.
Yeah.
But like that's it.
Yeah, and it's sad because it is like a system that could be working. I mean, we know that Armored Core games have been selling for quite a while now. So
all right, let's get back to the subscription services before we start bashing EA.
I would say give it a little bit more time before you really invest in really something you want to have in there. I would give it some time. It's still a fresh concept. Like try looking into it like in 2 years, and then we see how it developed. Like if really every developer decides to make their own one and segment their games so heavily that we have like 6 or 7 of these just to get like a few JRPGs out there, it's just not worth it,
I feel like it wouldn't really be a good idea for longer games. I mean, maybe it would, because like, let's say PlayStation had something kind of similar, and they let you play like PS2 games for $15 a month. Like you could play all the PS2 games for $15 a month. And that would basically be like you could play Persona 4, and that would cost like what? How long do you think that would take someone? Like if you could beat Persona 4 in like a month and like play a bunch of other PS2 games for like $15 a month, that sounds like a pretty good deal to me. I do kind of wonder if it might be a good idea to combine a bunch of consoles libraries into one service, or like have a different service for each console. I feel like it would be a better value to just lump them all together. But then again, I don't know what I'm really talking about because
I mean, it would be a nice idea, but I can assume the licensing problems that come from that are just too much, and also a lot of people a lot of console publishers would just say, no, we want to have our own service because a complete service would only give us scraps compared to owning the full library.
All right,
but that's okay. So yeah, that's the thing.
All right, so it's a good idea, but we'll have to wait a little bit while to see if they're actually worth bothering with, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Shadow Elite, for the question. The last question we have is from Gab Mew. She's a neat person. Go look her up on the YouTubles. Her question is just Persona 5 Scramble thoughts.
I mean, it's
I think it looks fun.
Game. It's a Muso game, and it looks fun. And these games are never really dull.
See, the neat thing about isn't Omega Force developing it? I'm gonna look it up real quickly.
Yes, they are supposed to do that, I think.
All right. Okay, it doesn't. I can't see where it is. Whatever. Anyway, the interesting thing about Omega Force is that the thing they do, the Dynasty Warriors thing. They're like, they've kind of sucked at it recently. But whenever they get like a different property to work with and make a new game for, they tend to do pretty well. Like Hyrule Warriors, I've heard good things about that. I've heard Fire Emblem Warriors was also a pretty cool thing.
That had a lot of technical issues, apparently.
Yeah, but like overall, I've heard it was
overall,
at least pretty good. And from what I've seen of Persona 5 Scramble, I think it looks like a lot of fun. It definitely seems like they're putting a lot of effort into it, like they do with a lot of their other kind of spin-off license project things. I like just how it looks, obviously, because it's Persona 5. You know, I don't think Atlas can make a bad looking game if they tried. I mean, at least with like Soejima, I think he's still doing the designs. I'm not entirely sure, but like Persona 5 just looks cool. The game looks cool, so I instantly like it for that. They'll probably have some pretty awesome music. I do think that we could use more characters and more settings and stuff like that. Because when you look at Muso games like Dynasty Warriors or Hyrule Warriors, you got these massive rosters. And with Persona 5, I'm glad they're making it a sequel, but that means we would still get like what? We'd get Joker and Ryuji, Yusuke, Futaba, Haru, Makoto, maybe Morgana, and that one girl who I think his name is Sophie or something like that. So that's like 9 characters. I hope we get more. Like, I hope they include characters from all the Persona games. That'd be a pretty awesome thing.
Yeah, I could.
Or
I could see
Vincent.
that.
If they put in
Vincent,
Vincent
yeah,
Brooks
why
from
not?
Catherine,
Vincent
that
would
be
be
hilarious.
Like he's going on it with a pillow.
Or all the crazy power-ups he gets from the dreams, like the lightning books or the dropping blocks on people.
That would
The
be
energy
nice.
drink that makes him hit harder. I don't know. It's just, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah,
I think that'd be pretty cool.
that would be a nice edit. But you have to also see that when it comes to these games, they usually add a lot of interesting characters to the mix, like that you would not necessarily expect. It's just that sometimes they do it a little bit too heavy on the DLC side. Like a lot of Hyrule Warriors characters, for example, are DLC, and some people weren't really fond of that. I mean, at least the main roster was interesting and there.
It was already substantial.
Of course, it's nothing compared to a Dynasty Warriors, a Samurai Warriors game. Like, I don't know, the Dynasty Warrior games were just so many characters and so many playstyles at this point.
They've really gotten lazy with their own series, but like when they're given a spin-off project to do, they tend to do well. And from what I've seen, they seem to be, doing pretty well at the game. So I'm looking forward to it. I probably won't get it day one just because Muso games, they're not something that I would go out and get day one, even though I love Persona 5. Like, I still have to get Persona 3 and 5 dancing. So, I mean, maybe.
Hey, I
heard some pretty crappy things about it, but like, I probably won't get it day one. If I do get it, which I probably will, I'll probably get it on PS4 just to piss off Switch owners. So I call them Talk Switch Crusaders.
Well, if you look at if you want to, but I personally think it's still not a day one buy for me. But I'm going to look into that. These games are nice, but they're fun. They're rarely bad.
They're fun little stress balls.
Yeah, just don't play them too long. I had a very long time where I overindulged in them, and that was just bad. Like, nothing is worse than having than playing these games for 10 hours straight and wondering where the day has gone.
All right. So yeah, thank you, Gabmew. Persona 5 Scramble looks like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
And with that, that's all the questions we got. Again, if you have some you'd like to ask us, comment it down below, tag us on Twitter, just ask us in the Discord. I have a Discord now. It's called The Neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine?
Great.
You know, Mr. Rogers.
Yes, I know Mr. Rogers. I haven't seen this show personally because different country, different decisions, but I know about it.
The movie's coming out soon with Tom Hanks.
Let's see,
which is just a brilliant piece of casting.
I think, yeah, that works pretty well. Yep.
All right. But that's the questions we got. Let's talk about the topics. The first topic we have is kind of is related to the thing we talked about earlier. JRPGs. We'd like to see get modern sequel and what we want it to be like. I'm gonna have to shorten that when I edit this and put the text on the screen above the bar because that's a very long thing. But yeah, basically, old JRPG series that haven't gotten love in a very long time, and it still have potential. Something we'd like to see come back, and what we think might bring it to give it some more attention. Like, oh hey, that series is coming back, and they're doing something crazy with it. It looks like it could be interesting. Yay!
Well, so do you have an example? What do you wanna?
I mean, do you? You can pick a normal RPG if you want.
I actually saw a lot of kind of spiritual successors and sequels that people did through some Western RPGs, and they're interesting, but I'm not so sure they're really that great. They have some problems, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe let's do a Final Fantasy IX sequel.
You broke up there. What do you want?
Let's have a Final Fantasy IX sequel.
I mean, we did. It's called Final Fantasy X.
No, I mean a direct sequel. Like Final Fantasy X 2, why not a Final Fantasy IX 2?
I'm not sure how that would work.
I also don't know, but just bringing the combat system back, seeing what happens, there's still some ways to go. I want to see what happens to all of these people. I would like to see how the world changed after they defeat Kuja and then save the world and do things.
All right.
That would be interesting. So, do you have a choice?
Wild Arms.
Wild Arms. Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Wild Arms was this series that started on the PS1 back in, I think, 1997.
Could be. Yep.
Something like that. 1997. And then I haven't played the original game. I have played 3. Well, I'm working through 3. I played a little bit of 4. I also have the limited edition collector's edition of 5, which is really cool. And the main reason I want it back is just because how many JRPG series, just video game series in general, take place in like the magic sci-fi Wild West with aliens and guns and just like it's a unique setting, and like that alone should be enough to bring it back. It hasn't had a new game since I think 2009 or 10, something like that, where the last one we got was a spin-off tactical RPG thingy on the PSP called XF or Crossfire, and I heard it was okay, but just like we're kind of coming up on a JRPG resurgence in a way, at least here in the West. I'm not entirely sure how it's faring in Japan, but stuff like Persona 5, that managed to break into the mainstream and become one of the best games of 2007. Not 2017. That was it. And then there was Dragon Quest XI, which managed to be pretty successful. I'm still mad about all the features they have in the Switch version that probably aren't coming to the PS4 version. So I feel cheated. Screw you, Square. I hate you. Hate you for that. And then you got stuff like Pokemon it's just still here. You're getting mad about it. Stuff like that. But then you got like Valkyria Chronicles 4 that managed to do fairly well from what I remember.
Yeah, it did well.
The genre is getting a little bit more attention again. I think bringing back one of the more unique series to come out of the genre would be really beneficial, because like it'd be like Cowboys versus Aliens with Daniel Craig, except Daniel Craig isn't in it, and instead it's a bunch of anime cowboys fighting magic aliens with guns.
The kind of the sci-fi western is already a pretty popular subgenre, so Yeah, I can see that. That would work wonders. I like that genre.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Hmm?
Well, I think it's called Weird Western, where it's just they take the West and just throw stuff in it to make it really just like really weird. Like in Wild Arms 3, you travel to temples and communicate with gods of nature to gain their powers and cast magic spells. Like that's freaking crazy. I want a game like that again. And I feel like it would really do well in, the modern thing. And it's just like I think the team working on it at MediaVision, I think that's what the studio is called. They've actually been doing some pretty decent stuff in recent years. They're making the Digimon Cyber Sleuth games, which I've heard pretty good things about.
They are pretty good.
Still want to play them because I like Digimon a lot. And they also helped on Valkyria Chronicles 3 and 4. So there you go right there. They've already gotten some more experience since Wild Arms 5. And the weird thing about Wild Arms is that none of them ever really received massive critical acclaim except maybe the first one. But they were consistent. Except 2. I've heard 2 is kind of crap. But other than that one, most of them seem to be pretty decent. Most of them seem to be pretty well received. And I just think if they brought it back with the experience they've gained since the last one, they could make something that really stands out, even more so than how it did. Because it's still a pretty unique system. It's still a pretty unique system. Yeah, you got your arms, which are magic ancient guns or something like that. You got people just wandering around and just having crazy fun adventures in Magic West land.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get a Gungrave sequel, we can get a Wild Arms sequel.
You mean Gungrave Overdose?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was on the PS2. That wasn't too long after.
No. They announced a new one recently.
Oh, that'd be cool. I hope Yasuhiro Naito helps out again.
They had a trailer for this. It looks pretty cool. You can look it up.
Well,
afterwards.
Of course it looks cool. Naito's art is inherently awesome.
So yeah, I mean, if we can get a Gungrave sequel, we can get a Wild Arms sequel. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty cool thing to do. And what else is there? I feel like they could really enhance the battle system because it was a pretty standard system. And how in Persona 5 they have that really stylish menu where it's you hit a button and each button is a corresponding menu option.
Yeah.
Wild Arms kind of did that first. They just had a little 4 little options during your turn, and you just selected it with your D-pad, and that's how you selected your thing. So it kind of already did that. It's got the guns. It can have cute anime girls too, but in the Wild West. So that'd be pretty awesome. And I think it would be really awesome if they could bring over some of the experience they've had with Valkyria Chronicles, because if I remember correctly, Wild Arms 5 kind of introduced a more strategic style of combat, and considering how well received the combat system in Valkyria Chronicles is, I think implementing that into a smaller scale for the normal encounters would be really interesting. You could hide behind items, or there are destructible environments and stuff like that. If someone's standing under a roof porch kind of thing, you could shoot the support pillars and have the roof fall on them or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just think it'd be a really cool thing to see brought back. Because, we don't have a lot of Western games, and the one we do have is by 2K, so I instantly hate it.
Yeah, I can
and also,
understand.
People were kind of exploited and overworked to make it, and I kind of hate it for that too. But yeah, Wild Arms. I'd love to see it come back.
Great. Any other games that you want to get back? Sequels, kind of modern RPG thingies?
I kind of want to see Lunar come back, but properly.
Okay.
Because I heard Dragon Song kind of sucked.
Can't really talk about that.
All right. I would say I would like to see Suikoden come back.
I mean, we had some collections a while ago, so I think.
Yeah, I don't think so. That doesn't count.
Okay, but
Since
there's at
Konami,
least some requests for it. It's just that I'm not sure if that specific gameplay style wouldn't need a major overhaul so that people kind of enjoy it because
yeah, that's the crazy thing. It's still like the first 3 games are still pretty fun to play.
yeah.
So they wouldn't really need to modernize it at all. They just need to make it look nicer.
Yeah.
And that's all they would need to do. But Konami is Konami, and Konami is the worst. So that we have no hope for that. I'd like to see Breath of Fire come back properly, not a mobile game. No, none of that. None of that. Just like actual Breath of Fire sequel that's as good as 4 or 3. Either one, really. I'd love to see a sequel to Legend of Dragoon because that only had 1 game. And it was released like right before the PS2 came out, so like no one cared about it. I'd like to see that come back. What else is there?
I don't know.
Now there are a lot of games, but like the main one I really want is Wild Arms to come back, and it'd be really easy. You know why?
Why?
Wild Arms has no continuity.
Ooh.
Every single game is completely different. Like they all ostensibly take place on the same kind of planet, but none of them actually matter. So it's like each one just takes. It's like it's the same planet. They carry over some elements, like the arms are the really powerful guns, and I think there is some kind of race of people that I think is supposed to be their analog for Native Americans. But like other than that, they can do whatever they want. So it wouldn't even be a problem with like continuity because there's no continuity in the series at all. So they can bring it back whenever they want and just have it be another Wild Arms. Unlike Final Fantasy, which people keep, like connecting the dots and being like, this game comes before that game, which also connects into this spin-off game, which also connects into this game, which also goes into that game, and that game's a sequel to that game because of a detail in this game that no one cares about. But with like Wild Arms, you can just be like, hey, Wild Arms 6.
I mean, you don't even need to put a number on it. Numbers can be confusing in this case, but not having a number can also be confusing, and we should not do that. It's like,
Yeah, if they just rename it Wild Arms and bring out a new game like that, that'd just be like, no, don't Tomb Raider us.
Don't doom us.
I mean, to be fair, Doom was kind of, actually, yeah. I think you should just call it Doom.
Yeah.
Doom.
So, yeah.
Doom.
But no.
But yeah, I hate it when people do that. I hate when they're like, the new Tomb Raider reboot's called Tomb Raider. The new Mortal Kombat reboot's called Mortal Kombat. It's like, dude, make a name.
Yeah,
Have some originality.
At least Coca-Cola decided to make a new Coke instead of just regular Coke.
And then sell it on street corners.
Oh yeah. Oh, interesting thing. Just because I use every chance to talk about it. I want a Silent Bomber remake, but nobody wants it. But we had the 20th year anniversary this week about Silent Bomber. I want this back.
Silent Bomber. I feel that sounds familiar.
I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before.
I don't think you have.
Well, I talk a lot about it because I like it.
Or at least it was released in North America, so that's something
It was.
to be familiar with. Oh, it's by CyberConnect. Same
Yes.
guy that made Dot Hack comes full circle.
We're always bringing it back, baby.
All right. If they did make a Silent Bomber sequel thing, how would you want it to come back? How would you design it for the modern audience?
Well, I wouldn't really change much. The game itself was an action game already, so it's basically like, what if you do Bomberman with more action and a little bit more three-dimensional space? Because you have a silent bomber, and you just place bombs and smuggle bombs and lock on to enemies and smuggle bombs into them and then let them explode. That's the whole concept of the game. I don't really think you need to change anything. It's cathartic. It's great. Just upgrade the graphics a bit, maybe utilize a new style, and then you can bring it back. It's just cathartic destruction, pondering the nature of violence. Sorry, I have to do this. It's also hilarious.
That's fine.
It's an amazing little game that a lot of people came out at the end of the life cycle of a PlayStation 1.
Just like Legend of Dragoon.
Just like Legend of Dragoon, and nobody really got it. And I think it's a great game. It's pretty
No one got
hard,
Guardians
though.
Crusade either.
Yeah. Sometimes it's bad to release at the end of a generation. Maybe that's the reason why they don't do that anymore. And the last years of a generation can be kind of slow, like we have this year and next year, probably. But, well, we'll see how this works out. Maybe.
I would also like a new dot hack.
Yeah, why not? That's a good thing.
Like that would be really interesting because gosh dang it, Bandai Namco, whatever, I don't care. Your Sword Art Online games are terrible. They suck ostrich eggs through a drinking straw. Just frickin' stop. No one wants them except Sword Art Online fans. And as been proven several times, SAO fans have no basis for quality. They'll take anything. So just give us a new dot hack game. Give us like a new quadrilogy. That'd be cool. I want that because that'd be awesome.
I mean, I remember that they were a little bit shorter in length, but they were all connected to each other and released relatively short in relatively short bursts to each other. So that could be an interesting thing. I mean, it's kind of like an episodic game, and everybody wants to do these episodic games. So maybe not do that.
That's a really interesting thing that they did because, like, it was the early 2000s, and they released like 4 games in a year that each came with an OVA, and they were essentially like one big 80-hour game, just split into 20-hour chunks. And then they just tie it all together, and you play them in order, and you can transfer your save data, and it's cool, and they're fun. And I want a new one. I want a new dot hack GU. Probably not that one because the original games are kind of better. But give me a new dot hack thing. I'd like that. Thank you.
Okay.
So that's what I want. I want Wild Arms and I want dot hack. And I'd also like I'd also just like some chocolate, but that's like pretty much every day. So that doesn't count.
I want world peace, but sometimes you have to decide to go for lesser things, like video games.
Yeah. Where you can make world peace by being angsty anime teenagers killing God.
Sure,
that's how you get world peace.
Okay. Let's go that. I just need to be more angsty and teenager and we can deal. Maybe you just haven't found the most angstiest teenager yet that will do that.
If you want angst, play The World Ends With You, aka potentially my favorite game ever.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, I want that too. I want a new The World Ends With You.
We have to stop demanding too much of the world.
That ends with you.
Yes, okay.
But I mean, I don't know. Nomura said he might be interested in making a sequel, finally.
Well,
I'd like that. I'd like that a lot.
Okay.
Alright, but this was mostly just a segment for me, but now we're going to move on to something that's mostly for you. We're going to talk about She-Ra, the Princess of Power. I think that's the full title.
That's the title of the old show.
Oh, what's
The
the new
new
one
show.
called?
The new show is titled She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, plural. It's
okay.
important.
All right. So yeah, She-Ra.
So yeah,
The creator got married recently.
that's great.
Yeah, she and her wife. They're a cute couple.
Yep. They also have some interesting hot takes. It's just to annoy Twitter people.
That's fun.
Yeah,
So
I know.
Talk about She-Ra, because I talked a lot about JRPGs I want.
So, like around last year, the show actually kind of started. So, and now we are entering season 4. Like, wow, they really did go for seasons. The new season is starting on Monday. Well, not starting, just releasing because it's Netflix.
Uh-huh.
Who needs a release
I have
schedule?
seen a few shows that do weekly episodes.
Yeah, a lot of them still do that, but in this case, no, it's just dropped that one day and like, there it is.
Well, some do that, but yeah, most of the time, whole season.
Because they want to have this binge watch experience. I'm not really for binge watching because it can be kind of mess up my head. But you know, if other people want to do that, sure, go for it. But yeah, I've watched all 3 seasons, and I'm fascinated. It's an amazing show. It's everything I ever wanted and never knew I could get. Like I had to deal with the cartoons of the 80s and 90s when I was growing up, and
90s cartoons weren't that bad.
it's okay. It could be worse, but if I could have gotten this kind of quality back then, I would have not watched anything else.
I feel like you couldn't have gotten that kind of quality back then just because, standards of animation and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean they were produced mostly with way lower budgets and mostly
And
for
also there's a lot of
toys.
content in there. I think I haven't seen the whole thing yet, at least not that. I think there's a lot of content in there about like LGBT stuff, and
I mean,
I'm pretty sure they
yes.
wouldn't allow that on TV back then.
The 80s would have gotten like kind of a satanic panic about it. The 90s would be pretty iffy, but I would say not that iffy. It would be contentious, but I probably wouldn't allow it anyway. So yeah.
You know, one of the original Gargoyles was supposed to be gay, but they wouldn't let the writer do that.
Yeah, that was weird, but I could see it. I mean, come on. Have you seen Goliath? You want to kiss that guy.
I mostly just want to keep hearing him talk. I mean, hot dang, dude.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
But it was a pretty great series.
But yeah, I feel like She-Ra is one of those things that it could only happen in recent years.
And that's okay. It's just okay. We could have gotten earlier here, but yeah, it's a full amazing experience. I would say it has a lot of interesting things. It talks about a lot of important topics, and the special thing that I think that this show really gets nailed down is the relationship between the characters. Like, not just very simplistic. It goes into great detail. It goes into conflicts. It goes into issues with the characters they have. There's some real development going on.
Which you certainly can't say for, like, He-Man.
No, I sadly can't. I have seen all He-Man shows, and sadly there is not much development in He-Man. What's kind of sad, because, come on.
Well, I mean, it was mostly just made to market toys, so what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but even nowadays, most cartoons are designed to do that on the side, but at least they let creators go relatively free with what they want to do. Like, I call it the Transformers lesson, because Transformers had a problem where the original show became a cultural milestone, but they didn't really produce quality episodes with great themes and stuff. And then they kind of came to Beast Wars and hired real good creators, and suddenly the episodes became amazing.
Except that dated CGI.
Yeah, but that was the time frame. You really can't do anything about this. And the CGI was pretty good for the time. It was definitely an improvement, a step up from what the studio previously produced. And Reboot was already a good show, so, it's just the dated CGI. But the creators pushed, they developed. And the result was that nowadays watching a Transformers show is actually pretty good. Like, have you seen Transformers Prime? It's like it has
No.
no right being that good as it is. I can assure you, I fully endorse this show. It has some amazing ideas. Even though the human characters are annoying as always, but that's coming with the territory. But it's not as bad as some other seasons had it. So yeah. But I can recommend that too. But yeah, they learned that you can, if you give the creators a bit of freedom and tell them, "These are our toys. We want to place them somewhere. Give them some place," and they can do that. But they don't need to use the old tricks of one episode this character is introduced and overpowered, and next episode he doesn't matter. You can build up continual threats. Mostly also because toy selection has been smaller in the last few years. You don't produce like 60 million pieces anymore. You just go with like a few core characters and maybe some extras. So you don't overwhelm the market anymore.
Yeah.
So that helps. But yeah, back to She-Ra. Yeah, it's fantastic. I like the integration of non-traditional body types into the show. It really gives a better feeling to it.
I mean, if you were a wizard, you wouldn't be going to the gym every day.
That's true, but that's not really what I really allude to. Like, but sure, it's great. It has the greatest horse of them all.
What horse?
Swiftwind.
What's that?
He's a winged he's a winged unicorn, and he talks. And
okay, the question is it a winged unicorn or a horned Pegasus?
No, he describes himself as a winged unicorn, and he's all the colors of a rainbow, and he enjoys having the ability to fly. You know, like if Swiftwind is stressed, he does loop the loops, because of course you would do that. And
right.
And of course it's a radical horse in the most radical sense, because it wants to free all other horses and give free hay to all. Like,
does it actually say it wants to do that?
Yes, it says that literally in that
that's
order.
Hilarious.
It's not only hilarious, it's great. It demands a chair at the war table.
How can a horse even sit in a chair?
That's not important.
Did they make a special horse chair?
But the chair is not shown. It's just that it's demanded, and the request is granted, but they have not the time to produce the chair yet. So yes, it's
kind of weird how we get such a really good cartoon. I haven't seen a lot of it, but from what I've seen so far, it's pretty good. I like it.
It's really good.
It's kind of weird how we get something so good out of something that was a spin-off of freaking He-Man back in the 80s. That was essentially like He-Man Barbie.
To be honest, they just did what the original show visually, you know? The original
good.
Yeah, they made it good. Like He-Man and She-Ra originally looked, they were and I quote here one of the creators, the gayest shows in town.
And I say, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. I say, hey, what's going on?
And so, yeah, just turn this with a premise of She-Ra, of the Great Rebellion, into an actual show, and it works pretty well. All of the characters are developed well throughout the show, have interesting motivations, and you can really see them take. Even the villain is understandable, and while he's not likable, you can get a real feeling. I feel pity for that guy. I mean,
he's the bad guy.
Yes.
I don't think he's supposed to be likable.
But I feel pity for him in a way he's crazy, and I'm not sure if you will too. It's interesting. Sure, he has the wrong approach.
The interesting thing about the bad guy, I don't know what his name is. What was his name?
Hordak,
right. The interesting thing that I saw like a clip of him and be like, hey, no, you're not gonna chase after She-Ra. Do your freaking job. Do your job. And I'm just like,
smart.
Wow.
Yeah.
that guy's actually kind of threatening because he's actually not completely stupid. That's not good. Oh no. Oh, good guys are gonna be screwed.
Oh yeah, he's surprisingly successful over the course of the series. It's ironic that his minions don't bring that kind of competence sometimes to the table because they are emotionally connected more or less. Now, that's one of the big problems that Hordak has, is that most of his minions have a direct emotional connection to the enemy in the form of Shira, of Adora, because they are kind of a dysfunctional family, more or less.
Oh my gosh, I just realized his name's Hordak, and he's the
Yes.
leader of the evil horde.
Yes, of course.
I just noticed that.
Yep. It's not good because it's subtle. But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to season 4. The problem is
season 4?
Yeah.
I didn't know they had 3 seasons.
They had.
It's crazy.
I know. I didn't expect that it would go so fast, but they did there and go there. Of course, the seasons have been a little bit shorter, like they want to do in they do their arcs in kind of 6 episodes kind of cycles. So the last season was just 6 episodes. So let's see how many episodes we get this time around. I don't expect many, but the quality is really good. So
yeah, I just wish they had a little more animation. Because I like the designs, but a lot of the time the animation quality feels kind of stiff.
That comes from the Flash animation. That is kind of limited sometimes, and they have a limited budget, and they have to work very fast, kind of. So, I don't know. For me, it works. There's nothing really I have complaints about the animation. It's a bit simplistic, but it works.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yep.
And at the same time, it's got some pretty decent writing from what I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
I think one thing we've learned from Netflix is that you don't have to have good animation or super detailed artwork to be a good show. Because BoJack Horseman.
Yes.
That BoJack freaking Horseman is probably one of the best animated shows I've seen. And I just feel like it's like the adult version of She-Ra, I guess. In the sense I mean, not necessarily, but it's just I don't know. I wouldn't show BoJack to a kid, but if I wanted to show someone a really well-written animated show that wasn't anime, I would probably show them BoJack Horseman. And if someone has Netflix and wants a show just to show their kid, I'd probably tell them to just watch She-Ra. And I'd probably tell everyone to not watch Big Mouth. Because holy crap, that series is terrible.
I can't believe that they still get episodes out of this thing.
I think they're going for I think they either said they're renewed for up to season 6 or they get 6 more seasons. I don't remember where I read that.
Okay.
I'm probably going to watch them all just because I hate it. I don't like it. But it's I feel like they're finding their groove in that show where they're just being gross and they're just being absurd to the point where, you know what? Okay, fine. I see what you're doing here. But anyway, She-Ra. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing. The only thing that really bugs me right now is that this episode is probably coming out way after the season has hit. So when you listen to this, you'll probably already be able to watch the show or already have to. I hope you have already and you enjoy it as much as I do. So
just for a little bit of insight into how this works, if anyone's still listening, what we're trying to do right now is record them Fridays, and then I edit it, and we upload the episodes the Saturday the week after, and then that's how this works.
Yes. So yeah. So we cannot react to things happening in that time frame, but now you know when you get your answers for your questions.
Hey. So yeah, That's She-Ra.
It's fully endorsed. It's amazing.
Yeah, anything else you want to say on it?
My favorite character is Glimmer. The problem is that Glimmer isn't liked by the fandom because she made a mistake.
Who?
Glimmer. She's one of the princes.
I don't know who that is. I'll just look him up real quickly.
Her.
I meant M as in them, a shortened version of them.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Oh, geez, what the heck?
What?
Oh, my bad. The first picture that popped up was her action figure.
Okay, that happens.
Oh, you're talking about the pink,
yeah,
pink wizard person. Okay, yeah.
I really like her.
It's cute.
Yeah, but she made a mistake, and now the fandom doesn't like them.
Is so.
I wouldn't call it a mistake. I think it's just a genuine character flaw that leads to some terrible things happening because she's just a being with emotions, you know?
You have to remember, pretty much all the characters are angsty teenagers.
Yes.
So you can't really blame them. I mean, you can if they do something like intentionally really stupid, but like...
I wouldn't even call it intentionally stupid. It's not actually that kind of thing. It's just that the fandom really thinks that every character has to be flawless or something like that. And I'm like, no,
then
let
go
the
watch the original show. It's crap, but everyone's basically a Boy Scout, so...
I mean, well, some of the designs are hilariously funny.
Camp.
And you can see He-Man riding a horse. Grabs the hips very tight. He-Man is so hilarious.
You blinked out of there for a second. I'm just gonna like squeaky duck that whole thing out just because I don't know what you said.
I just...
It sounded very wrong on my end.
Okay.
Anyway.
But yeah, so
that's She-Ra.
That's how it is.
I guess.
I think we have it.
All right then. I'll try and watch the other episodes soon.
Don't force yourself. It needs to be a natural process. I watched
like the first episode and I thought it was good, so I'm just like, yeah, okay. And also, I'm always up for supporting lesbians in the animation industry.
Also, you will see Catra's sickest burn, but I'm not going to spoil it.
But anyway, I think that's a good length for now. I think we're about done here.
Yes.
All right. Anything you would like to conclude with?
Let me think of a life lesson that would be worthy of the old He-Man card.
Don't do drugs.
No, I'm not against drugs.
That sounds very wrong.
No, I think people should experiment and see what happens with them in controlled environments.
We're not getting
just don't do math. Just don't do math.
Sounds like you're saying don't do math.
Well then let me rephrase it. Don't use amphetamine drugs.
All right, we're gonna
bad for your body.
I'm gonna leave this in your version. I'm gonna leave this whole segment in your version. We're gonna redo this. So, you got anything you want to leave us off on?
Don't do math, children. Do mathematics. Don't do methamphetamines.
Oh, that's not nearly as funny.
Hey,
you don't seem to be getting. I'm saying like make something that doesn't have to do with drugs because it's funnier when you just say like a sitcom life lesson.
Okay.
Because it's funny that way. So you got anything you want to leave us off on?
Do safe sex, kids.
That wasn't what I was talking about, but you know what? Okay, fine. We're going to leave it there. Bye.
Bye.